Okay, hello everybody. So basically what we're going to do is just kind of get things started here. Um, the first thing you want to do when you open up Maya is you want to go in and set your project, okay? Or you can go to project window, create a new project, okay? And give it a location and a name, you know, for your uh, for your folders here, okay? So let's do new, and we'll just do this one as 3DA um, animation. Something like that will be fine. And then give it a location. I'm going to put mine on the top of my desktop. Okay. And hit select and then accept. And what that will do is actually create a folder. Let's see here. 3D animation. There we are. It has all the folders that you'll need, right? Your folder structure for your production in here. And then what you can do then is then take your assets that you're working with, which in this case I'm going to be doing this. Let's see. You can either work within this scene structure here if you want, or create a new one like I have. It doesn't matter, as long as the assets and stuff are in the same folder. Okay, so in this particular case, I'm just going to take these and actually move them into here, which is fine. And then I'm going to move my my street asset, the one that I'm going to be using here, into that folder as well. Okay, and then what that does is creates a folder ready for you to produce. Or again, you can download the folder and use that one. Just make sure you put your set in that same folder with the scenes. And then ultimately you want to make sure that you go to file, you want to set your project. The reason that you want to do that is because when you're dealing with your animations, then whenever you open the scene, it will go to your scenes folder for that project, right? If you have textures or anything like that or something, you know, that it'll be looking in the correct place when you open up your scene file and stuff. All right, so now once we have this, you know, kind of set up, then there's a couple of things to do. You'll have a perspective camera that you'll want to animate within. You want to work within that. So you can move around the character and take a look at how that is structured, as far as your poses are concerned and those types of things. You have a top view, front view, and side view. Top view can be fun and interesting with plotting out a course, you know, through a scene. Say, you know, you want to move from point A to point B, and you're moving along. An old trick that I used to do all the time is you can just create a NURBS curve under curve tool here. You can use CV curve tool, it'll be fine. And then just plot out the path that your character is going to walk, you know. Why is that helpful? Well, that's useful in that when you're setting up your character in the scene and you're moving in space, you'll have a top view where you can kind of turn the character as he's walking and you can see which direction he's going to go, and it gives you a nice smooth movement. Okay, you're not gonna do anything other than use this as a reference or a guide. Okay, so you could create that, put that on a display layer, and just put it as a visual aid or something like that. You can rename that to visual aid. Okay, whoops, I didn't even spell that right. There we go. Aid, boom, and save. Whoops, no spaces. You can use underscore if you need. Boom, there we are. And then you just right click and add selected object to that. Boom, and then reference it or template it. That way it'll be in the scene, you can see it, but you can't select it. Okay, unless you turn that layer off, right? Something like that. Okay. And you should do that with your set too, so that you can't actually select those types of things. We'll talk about that in a second. But the other thing you'll want to have is another camera view, okay, where you'll have an additional one. You know, typically you might use a side view or something like that. Front view might not be as important up front, especially when you move your camera around and you can see what's going on. So what we can do is actually create another camera, okay, and that camera is going to be your shot camera. So you just list that out as shot cam like that, okay? And then this camera is, you take this panel and say panels, look through selected. Now we're looking through that shot camera, and wherever you set that camera is what your final output is going to be. This is your work camera. This is where you're going to work from. This is what you would render from or do a play blast from, especially if you maybe have a camera movement or something like that, which you keep the camera still unless you need to move it, right? It is always the idea, okay? So this gets you initially started. Then what we want to do is just go ahead and say, I'm going to import, right, our set. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's import set. Let that set come in. Okay, there's our set. All right, so if we move this camera out, we'll get something we can turn on in our views here. Ooh, it certainly did that. It did that earlier too. That's very interesting. We'll take a look at that in a second. Don't worry about it right now. But you can turn on your action, right? Your safe, action safe there. This is title safe. Sometimes people keep their actions within the title safe area. Not as crucial, but this is a good idea to keep your actions for the character. You can come kind of off screen and stuff like that, but the main actions stuff keep with inside the main view there, something like this. So we can use this to actually frame our shot, and then if we turn our mat on, right, our camera mat, which is here, then we'll see exactly what's going to get rendered. The other thing we can do is actually go into our render globals and set up those. So at least initially. So we can go under render editors, render settings, and then just look at our aspect ratio and stuff. So you look at doing an HD 720, which will be 1280 by 720. That's a pretty decent size to go from. Okay, and you can then maintain aspect ratio if you need to, or what, but it's not 100% necessary. And then what we'll see, it's your film gate, right? And through there, you have your gate mask, resolution gate. See how that pops down like that? It moved down from the other side. Basically, this is the framing that you're going to get from your render. And then there's another little tutorial I have and stuff where you can make it where this matte opacity actually turns black, so that cuts it completely out. And then you only see what you're actually going to get. So you would want to frame that, or get that ready in your shot for whatever, whatever angle you're going to have. The character's going to walk out or something in this particular case for this shot. Now for the set here, we'll just unreference that down here on the main set. And go ahead and, in this particular case, we're just going to get rid of this little piece of geometry. I don't know why it did that earlier too. There we go. Weird scenario. It's actually a separate piece of geometry. It's very small. It's not going to do anything for you in there, in the scene. So you just get rid of that. Does it name something? Metal bar. Yeah, we don't need the metal bar. Okay, so something was weird with that geometry or something. Evidently from when it was made, I guess. All right, so there we go. And then reference that back. Why? Because you don't want to select anything in your set. Unless you're going to particularly, actually animate something like one of these glasses or the sign swinging or something like that. Some effect of that nature. Okay, so once that is in place, then we can import our character. Now, when we import the character rig, that